Can't stop.
Won't stop.
Won't stop.
Till killer cops.
Or in cell blocks.
Can't stop.
Can't stop.
The following newly released video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No.
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz. In a newly released video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one: concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No.
it is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly. Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, Sid, what's wrong with it? Improper way with this shit. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the law?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get it.
Profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Hold on a second, sir. Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Yeah, you can record. For what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What are you call a supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardez Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 to 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
West Wednesday, number 447. We are calling for justice for all victims of police violence. Mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mike check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
It looks as though Tawanda might have lost connection. Hopefully she'll be rejoining us momentarily.
Well, while we're waiting for Tawanda, I'll say a word about our guests this evening. We're very fortunate to have with us two freedom fighters from Newark, New Jersey, and they're going to be speaking about, that's Amaris there that was just giving us the solidarity fist. Oh, you're back, Tawanda. Back to you. Oh, we lost Tawanda again. So they're going to be, Tawanda, do you want to speak or should I?
Tawanda, can you hear us? Mic check, mic check.
Mic check. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry I had to jump off and jump back on because there was a lot of glitching on my end. But welcome to West Wednesday. This is week 447. And as you can see in that video, that we have been doing this thing for a very long time. And unfortunately, Ruiz is currently working to this day. My family has no accountability, anything. But tonight we have a special West Wednesday, and I'm going to let Uncle Bill introduce our guests. Mic check.
Mic check. Mic check.
Mic check.
As always,
Mic check.
As always, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here, part of West Wednesday and the fight against police terror. So the two guests that we have tonight, they're joining us from Newark, New Jersey, and the case that they're going to be speaking about tonight has to do with four brothers. They are the Rodwell and Spivey brothers, and plainclothes police attacked them on June the 1st, 2021, and they attacked two of the brothers, as I understand. Our guests are going to go into much more depth than I understand. And then their other brothers came to their defense, not even knowing that the attackers were police. All four were then charged very seriously, facing up to 30 years in jail. And one of the brothers has been held in pretrial incarceration since June the 1st. The demands are that he be released from jail and that the charges be dropped against all four. And so I turn it over to our guests. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us. So I guess just to give folks an overview of like what happened is in Newark around, what was it, in June or July, Amaris?
In June.
So there's four brothers, blood brothers, who live on a dead-end street in Newark. They're just outside talking amongst themselves, and an unmarked car pulls up. Where they're standing is like kind of in the street a little bit because it's a dead-end street. This unmarked car pulls up right to them, like within like 2 or 3 feet of them, opens the door, gets out, immediately grabs one of the brothers had on like a fanny pack on his waist. So immediately reaches and grabs the fanny pack, begins to spin him around as they're like, what's going on? Nobody has identified themselves. Nobody has said, what's happening. And they just start really just manhandling them, moving them around. And so then the brothers respond to that, hey, get off my brother. What are you doing? As they're like hemming up one of the brothers against a gate. And then the police start to rough them up and choke them and whatever. And ended up arresting them and charging them all aggravated assault. They're all facing 30 years behind this. Now, when this happened, they released they, meaning the police, released a statement saying that the police were attacked by a mob and they were kicked and choked and all of this other nonsense. But, and that one of the body cams was stolen. So that was all nonsense. And when the body cam footage was released, you can see exactly what's happening. What is happening in that body cam footage is exactly what I described. And of course, the opening moments of the police encounter, the audio in the body cam footage is conveniently gone. So you can't hear that they never identified themselves as police officers. You can't hear what their initial verbal commands were. And so after that incident where they were arrested, 3 days later, the police come back and they go into the house. They basically ransack the house. They come in looking like SWAT. They're pointing machine guns at people because what they're trying to do now is find something, a gun, some drugs, anything illegal so that they can justify what they've done to these brothers after the fact. To say, oh, we didn't find it that day, but we found it on this day. Well, guess what? They didn't find anything on that day either. But what they did do, there's a family member in the house at that time who is a diabetic. So he has insulin in vials. They crushed his insulin vials as they were conducting this search to justify the earlier brutality and racial profiling. So I mean, this is just one amongst many, many, many examples of police being dirty, being racist, violating their own rules, not rules we made up, their own rules, and then going back and trying to intimidate the family. And they've done other things to try and intimidate the family as well. So I'm going to pass to Amaris. I know there's some things I probably left out.
No, you said it really well, Kai. And it's unfortunate too where this, or even what y'all are saying, where it takes years for us to get some sort of justice. And I want to add in that in Newark specifically, there are reforms that are set up that are supposed to alleviate these issues. So I added in my bio or just a little bit about myself or how I was able to get to this point, or why I kind of jump whenever I see stuff like this happening in my neighborhood. When I was in college, the Ferguson and the Baltimore uprisings happening, or you're seeing stuff in Palestine, you know, folks getting out and saying, you know, to free Palestine and stuff like that. And out of that time, specifically with the Black Lives Matter movement, something that President Obama was really pushing was for these body cameras. And now years later, we're seeing with this case that the police, they were wearing body cameras. And we have proof. You know, how much proof do we need where we have so many incidents that we're seeing locally, across the country, across the world, of police misconduct, of police not behaving in the inappropriate manners, or harassing people, or how Kai mentioned, we've been going out and petitioning with the mother of the brothers, Monique Rodwell, and we've been hearing from other Black men in the neighborhood that they have been robbed by the cops before, or kind of in Philly, they call it like a young bull, or in New York, they call it sunning you. Why are the cops bullying young people, you know, out in the streets where they feel comfortable to jack your stash or intimidate you? Where in my own personal history, when I was in middle school, having police in the schools where they telling you, make sure you get home, but yelling at you from their squad car. It's not a good feeling, especially as a Black person living in these condensed areas where we're battling so much racism in our schools, in our neighborhoods, in our jobs. And it's like we're being met with, the answer is more police. But how could the answer be more police or more reforms when we're not just seeing with the body cameras? But I also wanted to bring to everybody's attention, Newark is trying to form, or activists in Newark are trying to bring a community, a civilian review board, where there's supposed to be a civilian review board that will work with the police to try to review their behavior, or kind of have somebody that could kind of look into what they're doing. But then we have the people that are part of the civilian review board they're not officially going to the capital of New Jersey, which is Trenton, to the courthouse and talking about it. They're talking about cases from back in the 80s, you know, where it's like, what about what's happening now? And not just that, but also the city of Newark's police department in 2014 was placed under something called a consent decree, where it was made illegal for them to have plainclothes officers to do stop and frisk tactics, but also because they were killing and harassing Black and Latin people, maybe even some white people at a mass rate. So the NAACP and other groups worked with the city of Newark to place them under this consent decree. So I don't know whether it's super true, but where we hear that you have to be a Newark resident to be on a police force, all these things that are being put in place. Just for in the video, I think we're going to watch it tonight, where you're seeing that these plainclothes officers are hopping out their car, snatching at somebody's fanny pack, and then by the end, once they aren't, when the situation doesn't pan out, where they're not getting, where the brothers aren't standing down, you hear a cop say they had a gun. There was no gun found. So because you knew that you were in the wrong, you're trying to cover yourself on this footage because you know you're being recorded. Also with the footage, the first 30 seconds was cut out. And we're seeing in the courts that the prosecutor is saying that's just that the way that the body cameras work. So it's really frustrating, especially me personally. My work is I'm a nonprofit worker, where you see in these different professional settings, they still want residents and workers to work with the police, but nothing is being accounted for all these things that are happening, or it's being pushed under the rug. And then the last thing that I'll mention around the limits of these reforms is that, as Kai mentioned, one of the brothers, Justin Rodwell, is still being detained because of a prior charge, but not just that, but where there was a bail, a cash bail was eliminated in New Jersey, and it came out as something that was supposed to be equitable for Black folks, Latin folks, whoever, where you don't have to sit in jail waiting to fulfill your cash bail, but it could be up according to a point system or a point system that a judge uses. What happens in the case with Justin, the judge literally says, you have a very low score on this point system, but I'm going to go against the judgment of the point system, and I'm going to keep you in jail because you seem like a risk. So we have all these different things that are coming out, and I know that it could be very depressing, but I would say the great thing that is happening or that happens in these struggles is that we build greater relationships with each other. We learn about the law that does exist and how it's not serving us, and we empower other people to get out there beyond voting, because it is a lot of intricacies to this law system and to this justice system that is blowing my mind, where I'm like, I'm learning, I don't know the law at all, you know, with the stuff that's happening with the lawyer and motions and stuff like that. And it's very frustrating. But again, what has been great is that we've been really trying to empower Monique, their mom, and also the brothers to speak out and to take some authority around their case and not feel like they were wrong, especially in this time, again, where we're seeing people getting not just beat up by police, but, you know, you have issues in your neighborhood where people are hungry, people are poor and robbing each other, and you don't know what could be happening. And it's like, now you got the cops robbing you too. You might be on guard. Why should we be punished for our responses to our circumstances? And if anything, they are people that we should look up to, the Rodwell Spivey brothers, for looking out for their family, for even not just their family, but their neighbors came out and they were saying, this isn't right. What are y'all doing to these boys that were looking at clothes in a van on the street? They weren't even doing anything. And even if somebody was doing something suspicious, people don't deserve this type of behavior or this lack of accountability that we're getting from these systems that we're being told are supposed to be here to protect us. So that's something I wanted to add to it too.
I wanted to pop. Oh, wait, Tawanda saying something.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can go ahead and pop in, and then I'll ask my sister something in a minute. Go right ahead.
So I just wanted to give a little background, just on my personal experience with this kind of thing, because I'm from Harlem. I'm in Harlem right now. Ironically, I've been harassed by police in this very spot that I'm parked in right now, because it's happened so often that there's, anyway, so I grew up with the Central Park Five. Those are my childhood friends. The night of the incident in the park, I happened to be at my father's house, so I wasn't around, and I didn't become the Central Park Six. So this whole thing with police brutality,
We lost you,
Looks like
Kai.
we might have lost Kai. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin.
Yeah,
us.
he might be getting a
Right.
call.
He's right back. I see him.
Kai, you're muted.
Hey Kai, try unmuting yourself. Try popping out and popping back in again. Sometimes if you get a call, it might disrupt you.
It's just funny. Their timing be immaculate, and I blame everything on the system. Y'all already know me. Because it's like he was making violent points. Now my brother faded out and all this foolishness. But he back. I see it now. Something. Yeah, they're trying to mute him, man.
I see him, but I don't hear him. Kai, can you check your mute?
Because he was talking some truth power.
Yeah, I think your mic went out. Mic check. Kai, can you hear us? I can't hear you.
I think it went out too, purposely. Say it like, I can't wait till we get out on here and we won't have like a foolishness happen, because as soon as this bill actually went through the stuff that we're actually talking about, making violent points, now all of a sudden you can't hear. It's just sad. But I see him. Is he frozen now? This is crazy. Interesting.
Yeah, I believe he's frozen. Yeah.
Yeah, of course he is. That's ridiculous. So again,
Yeah, it says the connection isn't good.
Hopefully he went out.
Yeah, now you're back.
Back. Can we hear him though? That's the thing. That's the kicker.
You're back.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we're good.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So the Central Park 5 thing happened. My childhood friends went to prison. I visited them in prison. They did their whole time. I graduated from high school, went to college, dropped out of college, went back to college, graduated, and one of them was still in prison. That's how much time one of them ended up doing. So this issue with the Rodwell Spivey brothers is, like I told one of the brothers, this is not just about y'all. This is something I went through as a young man when Giuliani was the mayor of New York City. I've been stopped and frisked probably over 100 times just for being black in a certain neighborhood. There's no other logic to it. You black, you in a certain age group, or you Latino and you in a certain age group, you're getting harassed. That's how it works. And so I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that Monique, the mother of the 4 brothers, has been extremely courageous and provided so much leadership, the way that she just stepped up to the plate when this thing happened. Her brothers, they offered plea deals to the brothers. They didn't take them. And the mother, she has turned into a full-blown activist on her son's behalf. And also on behalf of some other families, because there's another case in Newark where the police did this same tactic a year prior, where they unmarked car, hopped out on a guy, chased him down, and killed him. And, we thought we saw a gun. And, of course, there was no gun, and there's still no accountability. So there's a few points. One is that this style of policing, which somehow only gets applied in Black and Latino neighborhoods, it's always going to lead to these kind of nonsense arrests that then they want to try to support them after the fact by finding something after the fact, instead of saying, look, my bad, we were overzealous, we shouldn't have did it, we apologize. No, they can never do that. They got to double down and triple down to try and, justify the initial bad action. That's one. Two, this kind of policing it always leads to the police murdering people. This isn't new. This is the same kind of thing that happened with Amadou Diallo with the street crimes unit back in I think it was the 90s. This is the same thing that happened with Sean Bell. That might have been in the 90s or early 2000s. And on, there's a million cases with these unmarked cars, these undercover police doing aggressive policing. They're supposed to be so brave, they acting like cowboys, but then all of a sudden they're so scared they got to kill somebody before they know what's going on. And so this kind of policing always leads to this result. And if we don't stop them, they're going to kill somebody else. So that's one other point I want to make. And another point I want to make is during the George Floyd protests that went global, right? They were protesting in other countries. The Democrats decided, this is how we're going to support this. We're going to bow wearing kente cloth. We're going to, you had 3 black woman mayors paint Black Lives Matter on the floor, on the street, in front of the Capitol buildings or on the prominent streets in their cities. Those 3 black woman mayors simultaneously were also increasing the police budget in each city. So they was giving us paint on the ground to say Black Lives Matter, which isn't going to save anybody's life. It isn't going to improve anyone's living conditions. It does literally nothing. It's symbolic. It's emotional. While what are they giving the police? Actual money, actual resources. What I said at the time to some of my liberal friends as a joke, I said, no, listen, I would rather those mayors paint Blue Lives Matter on the street and give our community the resources that they're giving to the police. Because that's what would actually change conditions in our neighborhood is money, is resources. It's not more police. So I bring that example up because in this case, we have in Newark a mayor who is Ras Baraka, who is the son of a poet and a black revolutionary and an activist, Amiri Baraka. And Ras Baraka grew up as an activist his whole life in Newark. So people had a lot of high hopes for him as the mayor, thinking, he comes from this activist background, he's a black man, he understands these issues. What has Ras Baraka done in this situation? He did one thing. When the police first came out talking about they had been attacked by a mob, they was getting choked and kicked and all this other nonsense, he came out and said, look, I saw the body cam footage. That narrative is false. No, there was no mob. The police were not attacked. And so he did come out and say that. But afterwards, he said and done nothing. Nothing. He's aware of this case. He's aware of the other case with Carl Dorsey Jr., who the police killed, and he's done nothing. So Amaris was making a point earlier about these reforms that they tell us to get excited about that are going to change things, like body cams are going to change things, like subpoena power for a civilian complaint review board is going to change things. We have that in New York. The cops are still killing people. We have a civilian complaint review board. There's nowhere in the country where somebody can show me that a civilian complaint review board has done anything other than recommend to the chief of police, we recommend this cop should be fired. So for the chief of police to say, thank you for your recommendation, but we ain't gonna fire him. So we gotta like, as we look at police brutality and policing in general, we gotta be real clear about these reforms that get put out there, where they start telling us, the body cam is gonna fix it. Oh no. The Civilian Complaint Review Board is gonna fix it. Oh no, we gotta get a black mayor. That's gonna fix it. I don't care what color the mayor is. If your politics suck, it doesn't matter. Right? We got a black mayor in Chicago where they killed Laquan McDonald and hid the videotape all that time. Well, actually, Rahm Emanuel was the mayor at that time. But they have a Civilian Complaint Review Board, right? And they have an internal affairs. You have in Atlanta a black mayor where they killed, I can't remember the brother's name, Rashad something, I can't remember, in that Wendy's. These are not solutions. And ultimately, we got to transform this whole society. But if we're going to talk about any kind of reform that will have any kind of impact, we need less police on the street, and we need more resources in our communities. That's the only thing that's really going to have some meaningful impact. So I just wanted to put all that out there real quick and let people go from there.
So my brother, I definitely want to thank you for sharing that. And it's interesting. Everything you shared is definitely, and it's like, that's why I always say, to me, the real accountability is putting these killer cops in cell blocks. Like, they can easily put these brothers and let them face 40 years for nothing in a tag. You get what I'm saying? They type of charge. And all to me is all is happening in the city. And the fact that my brother Tyrone West was murdered, brutally murdered. The dirty bastard. We in an unmarked car, and he was a part of the unit called the Gun Trace Task Force, without robbing, killing, and setting up guys like that. So let's be clear. So everything you say is truth to power. But real quickly before we go, because I want to show the video footage, I want to check it because I bored. Lit up. But meanwhile, I want to bring my sister Tracy in, who also lost her brother. Literally, her brother, like, she got a story to tell y'all. And we've been testifying, fighting in the net, and it's like, it's a big illusion. Like, we keep fighting. Like, when my brother was murdered, I was the main one down city of me testifying, oh yeah, we need body cams. Maybe if they had body cams, my brother would be saved. But the fact that they had videos of brother's execution that are hidden, we can't even get them to this day. So as I'm in this fight and trying everything, every angle, all they were selling to us, it's your BS. So I don't mean to sound gay, but it is like a magic show. You bring the pound into my classroom for the kids' entertainment, and he pulls this rabbit out the head, and they're like, oh my God, that's exactly what this system is doing to us, and it's sickening. I'm gonna bring my sister on, Tracy, because once you hear about what happened to her brother and stuff that she is doing in this sister, like, I'm just gonna bring her on. Tracy, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
It's a pleasure to meet you all. And thank you for inviting me, Tawanda. And I'm sorry for everybody's loss and for what y'all going through and to fight this system. You know what I'm saying? And like I told Tawanda about a year or so ago, is that these people, they ain't gangsters, they mafia. That's a whole nother rule book. You know what I'm saying? When you a gangster, we could deal with you. But when you from the mafia, like, nah, when you a mob, like, nah, we need a whole nother instruction rule book to be able to deal with you and handle you and take you out, period. The rules don't apply. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not to say that Black people are weak and that we can't do certain things. It's just that we don't want to go that far. We go far enough. So with the mafia, they don't give a damn. And that's what I picture, and that's what I see this federal and state government is. The mafia, period. You get me? When you talk about like people's brothers being killed, Tawanda brother got killed. There's a girl, Shamia, her brother got killed in Baltimore. And it's like you can't even trust the attorneys that you hire. You got to watch them like a hawk because they're about to sell your stuff out. And then the first thing they say is, why would they do that? Because if they got political aspirations, they don't care about the little nickel and diamond. You gonna get them even if it's millions because they see a bigger picture. And you get me? That's what they're looking at. Can y'all hear me clear? Am I breaking up?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
You know what I'm saying? So like with her, it was just yeah, like
I hear you now. You was up, but I hear you too.
Okay, with her brother got killed, got her lawyer. And now they in mediation, which is, you know, settlement, and they trying to lowball her. Like, I'll give you 100,000, and then when we go into a mediation, we can't record because we can't document what the mediation. What? I don't understand. Like, Baltimore got too many hidden secrets. Like, they need a whole breakdown. They need a whole wash through. They're like a damn virus. They own damn pandemic. You get me? And that not only stands for Baltimore, that stands for Jersey with their racist communities. That stands for New York with their racist cops. That stands for Chicago, Florida, California. Let's count the states. Mississippi, Alabama. Let's go through all of them.
Oklahoma.
Let's count them. How many are there? Texas? You know what I'm saying? Missouri. Like, let's count them. You get me? So this is a mafia constructed government system. They learn from people that do business the way how they like to do it, and that's to divide and destroy, period. And then the next thing like Tawanda said, my brother got killed in Prince George's County. I'm gonna just go with the highlights. I ain't gonna bore y'all with my story. I'm gonna go with the highlights so you understand where I'm coming from. My brother got killed, got shot at by 12 officers. He was in the middle of the street. And basically the officers approached him. They accused him of committing a crime on a Monday. And then somebody called and said they think that that's the person that committed the crime. They wasn't even sure if that's the person. It wasn't even the person that got assaulted that called. And then they coming at my brother a certain kind of way. And then he's telling them, y'all trying to kill me. Because in 2018, Officer Stephen Whiting, stabbed me up for nothing. We got the video of that. Stabbed him up for nothing. To his heart, to his butt, stabbed him up. And walked. They locked my brother up and charged him with all these charges. And when the video came out, they had to release him and drop all charges in 2018. And when he went to the state's attorney at the time, which was Angela Also Brooks, I got the letter where she said she's not charging the officers, and she's a black county executive right now in Prince George's County. At that time, she was the state's attorney. She black, yo. Like, how you not gonna look out for your own? Like, do you think these white people gonna look out for you? Because the last time I checked, Tawanda, I think you said something about the mayor in Baltimore, state's attorney in Baltimore, about to get hung on some charges. Like, these people ain't looking out for you.
They be throwing them slaves. They throw their own self under the bus, and then they ride slam over top of them.
Right. So these people ain't looking out for you. So you sitting there thinking that you doing something, you winning points, when you really just setting up yourself for a hang. You get me? So she didn't charge the officer. My brother ended up really like disappointed and distraught about the whole situation. So in 2019, when they came at him, my understanding is that he's like, wait a minute, y'all tried to kill me last year. Now y'all back to finish the job. He's not even understanding that they're there for trying to accuse him of something completely different. And he's like, no, y'all tried to kill me last year. They try to hit him with the SUV. Same thing that happened to Shamia brother in Baltimore. They actually knocked that boy down with their SUV in Baltimore. With my brother, they tried to hit him with the SUV, didn't touch him. They kicked him in his back. You know what I'm saying? They threw out an illegal flashbang and beanbag to distract him. And it ended up where all the officers thought it was a gunfire, so they all started shooting and killed my brother. And from the last time I heard, they said the report came back where he had like 30-something shots to his body or whatever. So me as his sister, when I hear that, I'm from Hartford, Connecticut. I ain't from Maryland. And we do things a little bit different. However, I got to follow the rules. So when I lean back, I'm leaning back for a reason. Because I'm like, if you ain't ready to make significant moves, then you're not ready for what these people gonna come at you with. And like the young brother just said, he said it. Put in civilians, what did you say? In a task force? No, not task force.
The civilian complaint review board.
Civilian complaint board. See, those people that join those boards, if you got 10 people joining that board, you got probably 1 or 2 that ain't gonna sell you out. The rest of them sellouts. It's all about their status and how they look and you know, they want fame. See, I don't give a goddamn about fame. I'm famous all by my damn self.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting right here. I'm already famous. You get me? So I didn't need to be on no force. I didn't need to join no team. I didn't need to align with nobody because I was famous from the moment I came out of my mother.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I stand with it. But a lot of people don't understand that concept because they're looking for more than just justice. When you're looking for justice, you got to understand when you jump into this game, you got to understand something. This is what I take from it. It don't have to be facts. It just have to be what I believe. If you jump into this thing and you're going to fight, you got to be willing, like those police officers that are racist and out there committing crime, you have to be willing to lose your life behind this shit. And if you ain't willing to do that, then you need to go ahead and sit back and collect your paperwork. Because at the end of the day, America did not become America because they asked the British, can you please let us have our own country? They had to fight. We're not going to see how many times have we been protesting? How many times have we been assassinated? How many times have we been abused? How many times have we been insulted, imprisoned? How many times have our kids not been able to go to college because they locked them up on false charges? And then they have in FAFSA, you can't apply for FAFSA if you've been arrested for anything. Like, you setting me up for a fall. And then I'm supposed to sit here and submit? You got me fucked up.
That's right. Facts.
You get me? So at the end of the day, unless you're willing to lose something that's precious to you, which is life that God gave you, like all of this to me, like you can continue to collect breadcrumbs because that's exactly what they're giving you, breadcrumbs. Biden sat there last year and was complaining about how Trump was treating everybody when George Floyd got killed. Oh, and when I get into office, now what the fuck you doing, yo? You just gave the police more money to come at us harder? And then you expect me not to retaliate? Are you mad? But because they know we're not going to retaliate. It ain't in our nature to take a person's life. It ain't, you know, you really got to come at us a certain way for us to go to the extreme. We're not built like that. Our mindset, we have a conscience. These people out here, they don't got no damn conscience. All they want to know is we got power and we're going to rule you with that power. However, America, they talking about, I want to make America great again. America was never great to begin with. It was always bullshit. You get me? America is some trash. However, America could be great if they learn how to unite with everybody. See, this country don't belong to these white folks. This country belongs to every foreigner here. You know why? Because we all foreigners. Our ancestors came from somewhere over here. The only people that are not foreigners in this country are the Indians, are the native Indians that they generation been here for God knows how long. You get me? So when they come talking about this our country, this is that, like, man, for me, I'm just like, you know, I just got a whole nother way of thinking. And because I know a lot of people don't think like me, and a lot of people, you know, push back on people like me, they like, nah, let's lean away from that shit. You know, I'd rather just sit in my corner and just be like, all right, y'all do what y'all do. And you know what I mean? And I'm there, you get me? But at the end of the day, you killed my brother, yo. And then you hid the evidence. The body cam from Hyattsville was edited. And when I told that lawyer, get PG County body cam, because Hyattsville don't look right. Get PG County. Hyattsville don't look right. He waited. 2 years gone by. Finally got PG County. When you look at PG County, what did I tell you? It was edited. See, I might be a female, but I'm not dumb. You get me? I'm not stupid. So just because I'm a woman, you might think that, oh, well, she don't have no sense. She's just a woman. Like, no, you can't think like that. Not no more. We ain't back in the 1940s. You get me? The video was edited. My brother put down the weapon. He put it down. Hyattsville never showed that. There's a lot of things that has been done. A police officer from Mount Rainier came on, and then when they was asking him questions, you know what he did? He lied through his teeth. And I'm like, stupid, excuse me, Twan, no disrespect to your show, but as stupid black boy, how you gonna lie worse than the goddamn white brothers that came on here? Like the white brothers, even they don't know, they go like, I don't know. They got like, they act like they got amnesia, or they say something that's not gonna get them caught up. The one black brother that got interviewed, lie through his teeth. Lie. We got video that shows where everything was and what happened. What, did you not watch the video before you got interviewed? Like what? Like, are you stupid? You get me? These are the things that I'm talking about. So when they try to make, well, we are not at fault. They said, Chief Skowinski said he tried to stab an officer last year. That was 2018. I was like, Chief Skowinski lied. That's why his ass got fired. And they call firing an officer retirement because they get money. You get me? But when they sit back and they say you're fired, right? And then you go all this stuff. I'm like, he lied. Even an officer on the freaking video of the body cam, he's told another officer, don't talk to nobody except for your therapist. Don't watch the news because the media is gonna have their own narrative. And if you want, you can call me and talk to me, because what? They can't subpoena me. I got 4 under my belt. That's people he killed under his belt. And that's a black man talking. He got 4 under his belt. You mud? And you telling this man that? He must have forgot the camera was on and we can hear him. So this is what they think about civilians. Who cares about your life? Who cares about what you go through? Who cares about if your people die? They don't care because it's not their people. All they care about is themselves and that paycheck. There's an officer in California that got paid like 6 G's, $600,000. And he just lied and commit murder back and back and back again in Cali. I mean, it's like they don't care. So when we sit back and we like, how you can't be compassionate for people that's not compassionate with you. You can't. It's like loving a man that don't love you. You got to learn when to throw in a towel. You get me? And not throw a towel to give up, but throwing a towel to start planning your process of strike back. You get me? That's what throwing a towel mean for me. So when you building your military and you building your CIA and your FBI and all that bullshit you got that be setting people up, the community needs to start building theirs. We can't rely on them no more. They're not dependable. They've shown us over the decades, over the centuries, they're not dependable. We cannot depend on them. We cannot depend on our government system to protect us. We have to protect ourselves. And we got to watch who we bring on our team, because throughout the history, Black Panthers, why did Black Panthers go down when they just wanted to build a political party? Because they had people in there that was snitch, that was sellouts. Martin Luther King, why did he get assassinated? Because he had some sellouts. Malcolm X, why did he get assassinated? Because he had some sellouts. Everybody that got something going on had a sellout. And until the sellout starts realizing that these white folks don't give a damn about you, because they will even turn on each other. They're like animals. You ever been to an animal fight? I've been to an animal fight. They will turn on each other. Mm-hmm. So when they sit back and say Black people are like animals, like the Italians did back in the 80s. I don't know if y'all old enough to remember that. Nah, motherfucker, it's you that's the goddamn animal. Y'all sitting here killing each other. In Italy right now, y'all got some shit going on. Like right now, y'all still got mafia moves going on. Y'all people are dangerous. Mm-hmm. And how do you deal with an uncontrollable dog? You take it out. And whoever don't like what I got to say, then, oh well, it's called freedom of speech. I am voicing my opinion, and this is what I think. And I have the right to voice my opinion and say what I want to say, because this is what I've been asked to do. And I'm speaking on my experience in America. I'm speaking on my brother's experience in America. You get me? When you get, and then for those that got body cams, make sure that your lawyers get all of the goddamn body cams. Don't tell you that we got this, we don't need no more bullshit. We need all of it. And I want to see every single bit of it. Don't go for we got transcripts. Transcripts my ass. You can edit that bitch. Because I got a transcript here from my brother where the video says one thing, and then when I'm following the transcript, I'm like, they didn't say that. Where they get this from? This not adding up. So when they give you just, we got the transcript, we're just going to say, nah, bitch, if you recorded the whole thing, I want the recording as well, because I want to make sure that what's in the transcript is actually in the recording. Don't try to confuse me. And you don't got to be a lawyer. You don't got to be a paralegal. You don't got to be, a college graduate to have common sense. And there's a lot of people out here got multi-billion-dollar business, and they don't even got a high school diploma. So you don't gotta have none of that to have common sense. Follow your common sense and do what you feel is right. And do your research. It ain't like when I was young and we had to go to the library and look at the code number and then go down the aisle and look at the book and then check the book out. It ain't like that no more. Y'all got the best life ever. Y'all got the internet. Look all that stuff up. Pull it up. If they tell you that, we're going to charge you to get your LexisNexis report, we're going to charge you $100 something. Pay that little $100 something. You would have spent that at the nightclub anyway. And get your stuff and start looking into what they're doing. Start investigating them. Start documenting everything they do. When that thing happened in Jersey with that boy, that family needs to document every freaking thing. If you want to see case files, y'all need to come to my house. I can show y'all case files where I just have boxes of information of things that I've gathered. But it wears you out. And that's what they want. They want it to wear you out and wear you down to where you'll give up on it. I haven't given up. I just took a break. Because if I let you control my life, I'm going to do something that's going to put me somewhere where I can't help who needs to be helped. So I got to lean back and walk in my own pace because I know who I am. So in closing, all I got to say is that my brother's dead. They can't give him back to me. And the money that they claiming, oh, we're gonna go to civil court and all this bullshit. Like, looking at Shamia, that lawyer told her $2 million and then broke that sucker down to $100,000. And they killed her brother, stomped on him, stepped on him, and they accused him of stealing out of a damn Dollar Tree, and he never stole nothing out the Dollar Tree. He had his receipt in his hand. They tackled him to the ground, and if you tackle him, how was he able to pull out a machete? Like, aren't you the police? Aren't you trained to deal with situations like this? So to me, the way how I see it, I'm not putting nothing in nobody's mouth, but the way how I see it is that if you tackle the man down to the ground and you got him down and he's able to pull out a machete on you, you did that on purpose because you wanted to kill him. Mm-hmm. That was your whole objective. I don't give a goddamn what you tell the people. That's what I believe. I don't trust this government 40 going north. I don't trust nothing about it. Like, when I'm rolling on the highway and I see a police, I just keep rolling. You get behind me, I go in another lane. You get in that lane, I go in another one. You get in that one, I'm pulling over and I'm going to ask you what the fuck you following me for. Mm-hmm. Period. Because you're not going to keep fear in my heart to where you're going to intimidate me. I'm not an easy horse to train or to submit. You get me? So at the end of the day, do your due diligence, stick with your group, and take breaks when you have to take breaks. And don't feel sorry for taking breaks, even if it takes months. Don't feel sorry about that, because you got to live with sanity. You got to live with your mind and your spirit. And every day I look at my brother, he's sitting right there on my dresser, and he's not here. I can't argue with him. I can't, tell him get out my face. I can't pick him up. I can't do nothing with him because they took him away from me on some bullshit. And when I say retaliate, everybody talking about let's sit at the table and talk about it. I'm done talking. Y'all been talking for decades now. It's time to make moves. That's how I feel about it.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say, you said a lot, and I think we all feel your passion. Like, to lose your brother under these kind of circumstances, and then to get jerked around by the system.
Yes, we can hear you.
That shit is infuriating. I just want to say there's a few things I want to say. One is the police. They don't just do this to us, right? So this isn't exclusively a black thing or even a black and a Latino thing. We've seen some really high profile cases of the police killing white people. Do y'all remember that case in Arizona where in the hotel, the guy came out of the hotel and the cop was pointing the machine gun at him and telling him, put your hands up, interlock your feet, turn around, lay down, sit up. Y'all didn't see that?
No, I didn't see that, but I know about the case in Missouri where these two young white boys got arrested, and then the state's attorney ended up bringing in false witnesses to come and testify, locked the boys up for 10 years. One of the boys' father kept fighting on that case, got the boy released. The other boy still locked up fighting his case. But that state's attorney right now is a judge in Missouri, and he got called when the case went back up for appeal. He got called and admitted that he got false testimony and that he lied and he put in things that he wasn't supposed to put in. Did they take him off? Nah, he's still a judge.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I thought you were going to say, so there was another case that enough people don't know about. There was a guy, a white man, who was a cop in St. Louis, but he lived in a neighboring suburb called Independence, Missouri. And his son used to smoke weed. And there was a cop in that town in Independence, Missouri, that was like on his ass about it, following him everywhere. And the cop was harassing this other cop's son. And he saw the kid's car and waited for him. When the kid came out, he got in the car. The cop pulled him over. He's asking him to get out the car, and the kid, because his dad is a cop, knows his rights. Well, why are you asking me to get out of the car? I don't have to get out if you're stopping me for a traffic violation. So this is all on video. The cop says, if you don't get out, I'm going to tase you. He tases him. He grabs the kid, stands him up, and drops him. When he drops him, he falls fit. It's like if you just took a book and knocked it over. That's how he, and his head hit the ground and bounced off the concrete. And so he was in a coma for days. He has developmental issues. He came out of the coma, but he's not quite a vegetable, but he's something close to it. But his dad is a cop in another town. So he was fighting to get justice and to get this cop arrested and get him put in prison. So the cop ends up going to jail for like 3 years or 4 years or something like that. But when that white cop was telling the other cops on the force what happened, he said the only people who were listening to him and taking him seriously was black cops. Because he said that the black cops were the only ones who had any kind of experience like that. But the point I'm making with this story and that other one is that this is a police problem, and it isn't strictly a racial police problem. It's a police problem generally. And as this thing grows and gets worse, that will become more apparent. They'll be doing this more to white people, and we'll be seeing it more often. And the only way that we can be effective against any of this stuff is to organize. Kind of like what we're doing now. We're talking about some of the issues that are going on. We're protesting. But the other part is studying, because I heard the sister mention the Black Panthers. And the Black Panthers were disbanded for two reasons. It was, one was they were under a lot of attack by the government. But the other was they had a lot of internal weaknesses politically. They made a lot of political errors. And if you have an issue with this government and you're trying to transform it in a radical way, and you're trying to transform what the police are basically like a civilian military, you really got to study. You really have to study. You really have to know what's going on. You got to spend a lot of time looking at what people have done before us, because a lot of what we think we want to do, the Panthers have already done it. The Panthers have already done a lot of that stuff as it relates to police brutality. They actually were fighting back. And I'm not advocating that, especially not on this thing. But I'm just saying, if that's something that anybody's thinking about, you have to study that. You have to study that. There's no need.
But the original Panthers that started in Alabama, they didn't go that route. They was trying to create a political party where black people had their own party that they can vote from outside of the Democrats and the Republicans. And the attack came there first, and then people started to be sellouts, for lack of better words, and then they branched off. So that's how they end up getting the other paws into it. And that's something that actually came from a Panther himself that I had spoke to.
Who was that Panther? Because I've never heard that story.
I gotta go back in my notes. As I told you, I got a lot of files. I gotta go back in my notes, but I can always get the name of the person that I spoke to and pass it on to Tawana. She could pass it on to you, because that was someone that knowing that they came up in that time, in that era, and then they was a part of that type of movement, I was interested in speaking to them. And I had the same story that you had, and then they broke it down and saying it started here, and this is what we were doing at first, and then from there, because of all of the inside, like you said, the inside disruption and also the outside disruption, they end up breaking off. And that's how the other branches got built.
And I just want to jump in. And I heard the same exact thing, and definitely this is a hot topic, and we definitely gotta come back. And I think we should definitely have a special show for that. And I can actually bring them because I know 2 Black Panthers, one being Eddie Conway, and then I know the sister. So and that would be a great show, like to bring back and let them tell it like they were there. They was the ones, you know, that went through hell and hot water. So that's definitely. But real quick. I want to jump in and check in with our brothers Marcellus to see, you know, from to read the comments and questions. And then I also want to go into the body cam footage. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Right. So on Facebook, Carice Haslam says mic check. Smiley on YouTube says mic check. Hillary on Facebook says mic check. Kenneth says mic check. James Evans says mic check. Bill Bleish says good evening everyone and welcome to West Wednesday and the fight against police terror. Ben shared the article that Kai was referring to, where the New Jersey cop tries to make an arrest and he choked and pummeled somebody. Angela says that's all cops do now is intimidate, kill, no more protect and serve the people. Joseph says Tawanda for mayor. Hillary says this all is so familiar, reminds me of Baltimore. We all need to work together. The legal system in this country doesn't focus on justice or accountability. It is all about who can win. Angela says happens every time. The civilian review board ain't shit. Angela says the mafia period, the entire country. Angela says that's horrible. Straight facts, Tracy. Very well said when you were speaking. James says reading between her words. Michael Shannon Riggs said should have been Bernie, referring to Biden. Bill says powerful speakers tonight. Yes, correct and wise points, Amari's, Kai, and Tracy. James said, when was it great for us? Angela says, I'm with you, Tracy. Watch your team, that part. James says, facts. King was killed at the hospital. He was smothered. Smiley says, truth of history is being spoken. Angela says, we don't quit, we reload. And James says, definitely moves. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Yes. So definitely before we go to the body cam footage, I want to ask you, anybody want to say anything in regards to the body cam footage? One of people that this is the graphic. So if you have problems like with anxiety or seeing things like this, after I come back on screen, phone, whatever. So I just wanted to kind of warn us, and this is real sad. Just like Mr. Tracy said, they edited her brother's video footage, and then even Angela Timothy Flemings was actually executed in his home, and that footage is disgusting. They had edited that they showed us that they quickly killed this man that was having mental health issues in a blink of an eye. Like literally, why did you shoot 7 times? Like literally. So this is stuff that we go through, but I just want to check in real quick before we show our brother Ben play the video footage with anybody before we go into the video footage.
Mic check. This is the footage of them inside the apartment, inside the home, or is this the footage of them doing the harassment and the arrests?
So this is the footage of them inside the apartment, and then we also have another video that is more of a documentary style.
Play the 4-minute one first. We're gonna close out the one.
Okay, so no, I don't think this. It's just this is. So I'll just so folks understand what they're seeing. This video of the police inside the home is the video is occurred 3 days after they arrested the brothers. This was their after the fact attempt to find something illegal to justify the harassment and arrest of the Rodwell Spivey brothers 4 days earlier. They entered the home. They look, you'll see, they look like a SWAT team. Machine guns, not handguns, full-blown machine guns to execute a search. You would think this is like the El Chapo family home that they're entering into the way that they're armed. Just a regular working class home in Newark, and they're armed like they're, you know, in an actual war. So let's let that be the context for how we view this video.
Okay, so do you want us to play that video first?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I already.
Okay, so Ben, change your plans. Let's play that video, and again, if you know if it's too much, because I know that people are actually watching this that actually had, you know, officers running their house, you know, and do the same thing, and it's traumatizing. So this is the point where if you pray, say a prayer. If you need to walk away from your device right now, this is a great time. But if you can gut this, stay tuned, because you have to help these guys. Like, this is not for entertainment. You know, this is strictly for us to do a direct action and reassure that these brothers get out of jail. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, why are they being charged and they're the ones that's going through this? So we're definitely going to follow. And this is not the first time this is not the last time, I'm sorry, that you're going to see our guests tonight, because we're going to keep on top of this. We're going to keep sharing, and we're not going to stop these brothers released. Okay, let's be crystal clear. So, Brother Ben, if you could play that clip, please do so. And if you need a break away from your device, please take this moment to walk away. Thank you. Mic check.
Mic check. All right, so I'm going to play this video. There may be a little bit of distortion because the video is vertical and we're streaming horizontally, but stand by.
Push it to this room, please. Push it to the room. Key right there. You too, man. Straight into the room. And the door secured. Looking for. Sir, come back down. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands.
And that's the end of the video. I'm going to go ahead and play the second video. Stand by.
Brother like that. Grab me, bro. Stop. Pull on my brother like that. Stop. Hey, give me yo, can I stop for the weed? To the ground. Take him to the ground then. Take him to the ground. Give him your hands, brother. Give him your hands. Bro, just get your hands, bro. Your hands behind your back. Yo, give him your hands. Please. I don't come back. Yo, put your hands behind your back. Listen, give me your hands, please. Last episode. Yo, double cuff it. Wait.
Come in here with no. Wait.
Let me see your hands. Wait.
What you doing? Nah, you can't move it.
Move your gun.
You have to move that gun.
And they harassed my family. They talking about family. They put a gun to our heads. They did a lot of stuff to my grandson. They stepped on his medication. They do bad stuff to people, and they don't have to. They ain't accountable for nothing that they do.
When the police are stopping people who are not committing a crime, in this case, right on the police report, it says, we saw a male with a white t-shirt and dreads, and that's what made us stop the car and get out and approach them. That is textbook racial profiling. Is it against the law to be a man with a white t-shirt and dreads? That's half of the city of Newark. So it's important to make these connections because this is going to happen again.
I'm tripping, I'm stuck in millennium, lethal experiment. Cause they can't step in that circle we built from the pyramid. They been tampering with evidence, but we still too close to eloquent. Try my best to being innocent. I put in my time, I do that for my immigrants. Innocent. And yeah, we be killing shit. So that make us look guilty cause we standing militant. Historical vision, I cannot believe it, man, what a coincidence.
What is Ras Baraka doing with this? We gotta cause a lot of these elected officials some grief. We gotta fight and we have to organize.
And we keep speaking and speaking. But guess what? Ain't gonna be no peace. No justice, no peace. And we ain't giving them no damn peace. I'm tired. We can't sit up here and keep on, okay, give us justice. No, we gotta take justice. We gotta take it.
Lo que queremos es un mundo en que los niños no muerden porque la policía son racistas. En cualquier país en que vive, lo que necesitamos es un mundo sin fronteras, sin capitalismo, sin policía racista. Okay?
Make for people and taking their innocence. Money crashing right or down, all the people they be remembering. No, everybody gotta claim one crown, like one shine at the baseline. Put your heart up on the baseline. When it full quarter, I'ma take mine. She is acting in the interstate. Music sounding like a hand grenade. Tryna keep my team away from renegade. That's until we see them better days. Take a break, I'm sipping lemonade. Time to show them why they been afraid. Innocent. If you ain't listen, you gonna need hearing aids.
Mass racist terror! Free justice! Free justice!
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. If
Mic
Juwan,
check.
check. No.
Mic check.
Mic check. Tawanda, if
Yes, mic check. I'm sorry, I can barely hear you, Tracy. What you said?
I was gonna say I wanted to if I know in the beginning you asked us, we had a comment about the video, and I had when I was wondering if I can make a comment now.
Absolutely.
When you talked about trauma, people that couldn't watch the video, I watched it the first time you played it, but it's like I didn't process it. And then when I processed it, it took me back. And I'm gonna make this very short. I'm gonna take it into like 3 minutes, okay?
Okay.
2019, I don't go home a lot, but me and my sister end up reconnecting. So I went home to spend Thanksgiving with her. Or if it was, I think it was Thanksgiving, right? And on my way back to Maryland, I was driving down Highway 83. That's coming through Jersey, Philly, all that area. And that was because I wanted to avoid paying toll on the Jersey Turnpike and through New York and Delaware and all of that mess. So if you take 83, you don't pay no toll. So I'm driving down. I did this route before and somebody tried to run me off the road. And I called the police and they came out and they was like, oh, they thought that y'all was impaired and they was trying to see if y'all need help. How could they think that we was impaired and that we needed help and my windows are tinted out 5%? You can't even see who's in the car. So this time around from New Jersey, I'm coming down. From Connecticut, I'm coming down 83 and I'm heading home again. And there was another car trying to run me off the road. And I'm like, do these people spot what car they want? Like, I don't understand how this works. So I'm a good driver. Like, I'm a car race driver. So I can drive really good. So I was determined I'm not going to let this person pass me. They called the cops and filed and said whatever they said to the dispatcher. The police came out. And when I went, remember, it's late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning. And when I went to block the traffic, it was a police officer I was blocking. So they pulled me over and I tell them what happened. This is what happened. And I turned on my recorder. When the police officer got to the car, we talked for like maybe about a minute. Then I turned my recorder on and I started to record the whole conversation. So I told him what happened. He's dispatching to the other people to get their story on what happened. And they let me go. They says, okay, well, they was saying something different, but it's just y'all in the car. It was just me, my kids, and my aunt. And the police officer that pulled me over, he believed what I was saying. That's how I took it. I ain't get no ticket, no nothing. He was just like, okay, go home. I said, all right, cool. I left. And I went home. And I said, I'll never ride down 83 again. However, 2 months later, the ending of January, I get a letter in the mail saying that I got charges filed against me on charges that I didn't even commit. Like, I don't even know where they made up this mess from. So I had to pay $3 grand to hire a lawyer in Philly. When I went to see the lawyer listening to me tell what happened, but he ain't want to believe me. Like, he looking at me like, yeah, right. And then I played the recording. At the end, I played the recording. And then that's when he started taking notes. He wasn't taking no notes before. He started taking notes now. Sum it up. Went to court. A few months later, got my lawyer, went to court. They trying to get me to plea. So I said, I'm not pleading to nothing because I ain't do nothing. It's either you drop the charges or we going to go to trial, period. Because I ain't do anything. And I have my recording. The recording's not submissible in court. How is the recording not submissible in court? You can check the recording and it's on my phone. So they ended up dropping it to just a traffic ticket of me changing lanes without using my signal. And I got a $25 traffic ticket. I took it and I ran with it. But this is what I'm talking about when these officers or 2 months later come back with some crap. And that's the first time that's ever happened to me. And it happened to me in Philadelphia, which to me, Jersey and Philly to me ain't no different. I call it the same. You get me? That's how I feel about it. You get me? So I'm like, how you gonna come at me 2 months later on some charges that ain't even, legit? What, you thought I was gonna forget about the situation? And it was a good thing I had that recording, because if I did not have that recording with my history, they would have put me under the jail. You get me? So that was just to tell everybody listening that you got to protect yourself by any means necessary, because these officers, to me, my personal opinion, not all of them are bad, but there are quite a few of them that are out here to destroy our lives, period. You understand? So that's what happened to me. I hope my story was useful for somebody that might get pulled over on what to do. The first thing you do is turn on your recorder and then roll down your window. Don't argue. Just talk to them civilly, and see what they're talking about. But make sure you got that recorder running, because you can't trust no more. And nowadays, to my understanding, they say you can hook up recorders on the front and the back of your vehicle, and even inside your vehicle, to where it records every time you get in the car and start it up. So I will tell everybody to do that, because you can't trust nobody nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, definitely. And it's just sad, because I even feel like even if we have our stuff recording, they do what they want to do. Like my brother execution was caught on video footage from a neighbor that which the very next day, at the time, and his officers went through a knock footage, and to this day we haven't gotten anything, nothing. Somebody had the whole entire video, the hour footage of the being the whole man which he was murdered, leaves you in after. They got a whole hour long, and seeing anything. But I really feel you can keep the cameras rolling, and it broke my heart watching video footage of this brother. Like, they came there. Like, you didn't have your regular weaponry. They came in there. They look like terrorists, like army men. Like, are you kidding me? You one's home. Get up, as if you were going to war. But yet, and I want to bring everybody back to this. But yet, Ruth, because everybody knows this case, I can call quite many. I can call a whole lot of cases of Caucasian males, Caucasian terrorists, racist pigs that murdered people, just skin color, that they begged and pleaded them, walk with them to accountability. But Dylann Roof went in a church and he ambushed church people as he broke bread with them, executed them, and they walked him to account. See no army guns, like you didn't see anything. They put on a bulletproof vest and get cheeseburger them onto his way. This is clearly, truly an attack, and if we do not get this out, shame on us. If these brothers get any time for them being tortured, tormented, shame on us. So at this moment, because I know, and I apologize, guys, because we're at 8:07 now, and normally we cut off at 8 o'clock, but this is a real hot topic. We're going to focus on it as long as possible, but still respecting everybody's time, because I know people have to do. But quickly, before we go back to Marcellus for to read any more comments, I want to just ask our panelist special guests, in which ways right now with people seeing this, because I'm mad, and I think the brother that literally just was murdered his home, literally, and protecting his home, he had a license to carry his weapon, laying on a couch, ambushed, and literally, like, come on now, like, I'm tired of the talk. I'm tired of swinging at the air. I'm trying to get a connection. If we don't connect, it's just swinging at the air, and I'm sick of that. So I'm going to ask my panelists, what ways can Lottie Dottie and everybody help us right now? Because these brothers need help. It's clearly that they were targeted, and they clearly showed the message. We're going to do what we want to do. We don't care if the is rolling. If we want to have you hung in a cell or whatever, just like if we want to Sandra Bland you and make that queen rest in peace, because we know that she didn't hang herself. We know that these animals, racist pigs, killed her. They killed her because she knew her rights. She was a black queen that knew her rights, knew how to serve me. All she kept saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait. I cannot wait to fight these jokers on that." And they made sure she did. And then shame us and to make us look like we were fools. You want to try to say this lady killed herself? So no more. What can we connect to get these brothers out ASAP? Like, what do we need? What do we need to do? Mic check.
Mic check. Mic check.
Mic check.
I could definitely jump in. First, I want to try to. Can y'all hear me? Okay, I just got a message on my reload. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
First, I just want to, say this is a dangerous system that we're dealing with, and uplifting what Tracy was saying earlier about how we have to work together and build community with one another. So I'm from Jersey. On a light note, I grew up listening to Baltimore club music. With so many connections aside from the light things to the police brutality that we're seeing across the country, and we're seeing even in Newark that people aren't responding, or they're afraid to respond, or they're hesitant to respond because they're very closely knit with the politicians in the area or with the organizations in the area. So this is really huge for us to be able to connect the crises that we're dealing with from state to state, from country to country. And like you were talking about, Tawanda, in the beginning with the media, us having our own media, and the more that we connect with each other, the more we could have safe houses, how they used to have back in the day during the antebellum slavery times, knowing who you could go to, knowing who you could trust, knowing systems that you could set up. And it's sad that these are cases that have to be our own history lessons for us to learn from each other. How you were doing, Tracy, or how you were doing, Tawanda, talking about, or Kai talking about your history, our history, and how we're learning about how this system works, and ways that we could really dismantle it, smash it, fight against it, stuff like that. So I just wanted to big up that this is really important, and what y'all are doing already, doing the coalition building, I think is important. And I encourage everybody not to get discouraged. It's a long fight, and something that's the main way that we could kind of see who's who is by a drawn out class struggle, between us as working people, us that work a 9 to 5, us that have a boss that's getting paid off of our backs, being able to trust each other, but also call out, like, yes, everybody got to work, but when is it something that's not for the people? How can we be more collective in the things that we're doing out in our communities? So what the defense team has decided for the Rodwell Spivey case is how we're collectivizing. We've been going out and petitioning. So I sent the petition link to some of the hosts. If y'all could add that into the chat. If you can, please sign that petition, share the petition, as well as we're trying to raise money for an additional lawyer. So for the brothers, they're being tried jointly, but at the same time separately. Again, I'm confused by this whole law system. So it's like they have to show up to court at the same time, but they have 4 different lawyers. So most of them have public defenders, and one of the public defenders is an ex-cop that was fired from the force for planting drugs on somebody. So at the very least, we want to get that public defender replaced, so that attorney replaced. So if you can, please donate to the defense fund that's now in the link. You can go to the Lynn Ragozin Foundation.org to donate. We're trying to raise money quick, fast, and in a hurry. So anything that you can give, if you know somebody that might be able to give 100 just to get this moving, that's a really big way that you can come and support, but also just to continue to share this story. Share the link to tonight. Follow. I'll also ask them to add the Instagram page. Follow the Instagram page, which is rodwellspivey.support on Instagram. So following the page and just keeping up with things. But also, I would say when stuff like this happens, which y'all have already been doing, leading the way in Baltimore, to stand up and to continue to encourage and empower other working class people to fight and to know that they can do something. That yes, this is discouraging, but there are ways that we can do stuff. And the more people that we work with, the better chance that we have at fighting. But also the more that we study, the more that we build trust with each other. So, you know, I hope nobody, you know, I doubt my brother Kai or Tawanda, you know, with the relationship that we have with Boogie Snake and me because of that relationship that we had. But even if they did, we want to just empower so many people that if one falls, like what happened with the Black Panther Party, we have many more that can learn from what happened and not just trust the stuff, the revisionist history that we see in our schools, but do our own political education out in the streets. So that's a part of what we're trying to do. I know I said a lot, but you know, just pick from the barrel of what you feel like you can do. But these are ways that you could help. But this was huge already by us being on here and connecting similarities between what we're seeing and lessons that we're learning from Baltimore to Jersey. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. And I see, but my screen showing me shaking and all this. It's hilarious. It looked like a cartoon show. So I don't know if y'all can see what I can see, but it's hilarious.
You caught in the Matrix, Tuan. You caught.
Yeah, that's what I'm caught. Okay, that's what I do it. But that let me know, and I'm loving every moment of it because they can shake me up, make me move fast as I don't know what. That let me know I got power. Thank you for reassuring me. But it's just funny. Like I'm studying moving, look like a cartoon character. Like when you'll get the little paper, you'll draw the stick person and keep moving the paper. But anyway, I don't know what's going on. But again, I'm gonna blame this dirty system. That's just entertaining. But anyway, moving right on. But definitely we're going. A matter of fact, until we get accountability, I want to, and I know y'all got schedules and things like that. But I want to see if you guys don't mind coming on at least every other week just to give us a quick, or if y'all want to every week, just somebody to come on just to check in and give us updates, because this is real important to me. And like this is ridiculous. Like something needs to be done. So we definitely, you got our support all the way from Be More. We right here and we ain't going nowhere. And we're going to keep fighting this thing until we win. And my brother Mel Reeves' voice. But unfortunately, this is the part where we always read the homicide list as well as the police brutality list. So I don't know who has the list, but real quickly, I want to go into the comment section real quick to see if Marcellus, because I see things on the board and things of that nature, but definitely want to check in with the comments. And again,
okay,
guys, I apologize for the graphics that you are seeing right now, moving to and from. I swear that they doing up a setback here, like mic check.
Mic check. Angela says that's freaking horrible. No accountability. Kayla Watkins on YouTube says, I think combating propaganda against Black inner city people through media is a part of our struggle. Building community across cities like Amaris is saying is the only way these people will pay attention. The link the link to the petition was shared. Kayla Watkins says, we keep seeing things produced from the perspective of police and entertainment and news. We have to find ways to build people's optimism and awareness of previous movements. The link to the Rodwell Spivey Defense Fund was also shared. And to donate, go to Lynn Rago infoundation.org. James says, my T was doing her dance to the club music. And Smiley says, until we win. I also have a quick announcement. Tonight we'll be doing the challenge discussion. We'll be talking about moving past this system that requires police brutality, this capitalist system. We'll be talking about some of the experiences of Langston Hughes when he went over to the Soviet Union when it was under the USSR, and his experiences in a society where workers were valued and there was no racism. Mic check.
Mic
Mic
check.
check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Ben, I want to check in real quick. Is there any way, because it's not even letting me turn my screen off. Is there any way you can block my screen? Because this is ridiculous. Like, it got me moving fast like that. Like, and nobody, and if you notice, guys, nobody else's screen is doing it. Only mine. It like that, and this is like they're trying to take away from what we're doing, but we're going to keep sharing it, even if, you know, I'm shaking like this. But it's just ridiculous, the things that they do. It's just like, and this is to me, ain't no coincidence.
Hey,
But
Tawanda, I think it's your connection. If you can try coming out and coming back in again, that might fix it.
All right, well, I'm going to try to leave. And as I leave, let's take 1 minute while I'm clearing out, and they're going to try to connect back in. But let's take 1 minute. If you pray. And if you don't, let's keep these families into thought. But if you guys can hold off on the list until I come, let's take a minute or two of silence. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And again, I apologize for the blips. I went on and got back on from another device. But we can start reading the names right now. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Okay.
This is a real B&H customer story.
Okay, we checked all 4 systems and I'm keen with a go.
B&H, we hope folks find...
Sorry, that was me. I'm trying to get a different page on here to look at. And because as I do so many weeks, I'm going to read the names of the people who lost their lives to violence here in Baltimore. And the first of these was a retired school cafeteria chef and husband by the name of Clarence Buckner. He was 66.
Clarence Buckner.
Gregory Nelson, 42.
Gregory Nelson, 42.
Ronald Boone, 21.
Ronald Boone,
21.
Damon Price, 19.
Damon Price.
Damon Price, 19.
Tyrone Thompson, 44.
Tyrone Thompson.
Tyrone Thompson,
44.
44.
James Moore, 31.
James Moore, 31.
Seanette Lewis, 33.
Sean
Lewis.
33.
Thank you.
Thank you. And my heart goes out. And now I'm going to hand it over to Uncle Bill to read the police brutality list. Mic check.
Mic check. Good evening, everyone. It falls to me to uplift the names of people who've recently been killed by police around the United States. The average is 3 per day. Last week, we read the names up through February the 8th. This list that we get the information from comes from the Washington Post, and they've only added one more day since then, which is February 9th. But they have the names of 4 people killed by police on that one single day. And I want to say who they are at this moment. So first, killed by police in Daytona Beach, Florida on February the 9th, 36 years old. If we can uplift his name, please, Randy Lansang.
Randy Lansang.
Also on February 9th in New Orleans, Louisiana, 22 years old, killed by police, Terrell Russell.
Terrell
Russell. Killed by police on the same day in Aurora, Colorado. They don't give his age. Jose, let me say his whole name, but we won't repeat the whole name. Jose de Jesus Montoya Villa. So Jose Villa.
Jose
Villa.
And the 4th person killed by police on that single day in Oildale, California. His age has not been released and his name has not been released. Killer cops in cell blocks, Ashe.
Ashe.
It's been a wonderful show tonight. Everyone made wonderful points and told compelling stories. I think we did a great job tonight. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Yeah, so again, definitely want to thank our special guest panelists, both of our queens as well as our king. Thank you guys so much, and we will definitely be in contact because we have to get these 4 brothers out. Could you imagine if these 4 brothers were a part of your family? Put yourself in that mother's place, or even put yourself, imagine if it was you. If it was you that they, target and pretty much just doing whatever they want to do and making an example out of y'all. We need to flip it around and make the example out of them. And let's do the right thing and get these brothers out because nobody deserves to go through the hellish nightmare. Like it should have ended when it first started. Like it should have never even happened. But the fact that it happened and the fact that it's going this far, like literally, and then you have the nerve to deny someone bail, and you got raw video footage of them being the aggressor both times. Like in both instances, as you look at both of those very disturbing videos, right? You see them being attacked, brutalized, not once, but twice. When is enough going to be enough? Like, we have to do something now. And I urge everyone, like, to just get involved. Like, even if you can't go there to where they are to do something or make a phone call, donate. We shared it in the line because these brothers are going to definitely need attorneys. Because if not, they, it's just sad that they even have to go through that. Like literally, you're doing nothing wrong. You pretty much in the wrong place at the wrong time. Reminds me so much of Keith Davis Jr. It's just so sad. Like how many more Keith Davis Jr., how many more people that can literally be in the wrong place at the wrong time? It's awful. Like no one deserves this. Like no one deserves this. And I also just want to stand in solidarity with Stephon Clark's family, our beloved Miss Thompson just lost her husband on this week. It's just so sad, and I'm praying for them. And then I'm also sending prayers and love for Chef Vaughn. He belongs to the community here in Baltimore. He did so much, and this was a chef. I'm talking about chef, top-notch food, and he had no problem with feeding the homeless. And if you think about a real chef actually cooking you a good cake and a meal, you're gonna spend top dollar. But this man took his blessings to the community. And for me to read just yesterday, and I was so shocked, and it's just so sad that you can't even jump on. Social media is so depressing nowadays. Like it just changed overnight. Like literally, I used to go there to just kind of decompress. Like, let me just look at, like, when I want to unwind and not think about the brutal assassination of my brother, I would sometimes just like, let me jump on Facebook and see what my friends saying and get a joke and a laugh. It's so depressing because I find myself writing rest in peace more than I find myself congratulating people. It is just so sad. The times it's like nobody can just go to the hospital nowadays and make it home. And then my heart goes out to Nicole and her husband, because they lost someone close to them, a friend, and a teenager, like a young man. Life is just gone. Like, how many more bodies got to drop? And then it's just so much. It's just too much to talk about. But again, I just want to thank you guys. And again, we're going to definitely be on top of this because we have to. And we have an action coming up on March the 9th. I will share the location that I share with a lot of you guys, but we definitely have a outdoor action, and I will share it to you guys. So that's coming soon. I want to see Lottie Dottie and everybody. So again, I'm praying not only for my city, but I'm praying for this whole entire world, because we're living in a nightmare right now. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't make it sound sweet. We're actually living in a nightmare. And the crazy part is Black and brown folks have been suffering this nightmare for over 400 plus years. Like, when is it going to end? Like, enough is enough. And at the end of the day, it's not even just, like we said, brown and Black folks suffering, because I know Caucasian people feel it too. I know other races feel it too. Unless you're a hateful person, unless you're evil, you feel it too. But it's the time now to let's do something. And as we brought you in with part 1 and heartbreaking video to me, because it's one of the murderers that murdered my brother. And my brother was murdered by 17 killer cops, beat to death, tortured in broad daylight. So again, my heart goes out to my sister Tracy. My heart goes out to Nicole and Anderson's family. And even Nicole, she lost her daughter. Like, she lost her 16-year-old baby girl. Like, so my heart just goes out to anybody that lost somebody. You know, I'm praying for y'all, but we definitely got to do something. Until we win, guys, in my Mel Reeves voice, until we win, we got to dismantle this dirty system, because it ain't working. I'm tired of the Doug and Pony show. I'm tired of the magic hat, pulling the magic hat. I'll leave that entertainment for my little students in my classroom when I bring a clown in there or somebody to entertain them. But it's not entertaining when we are dying. We're getting murdered. Like, literally, every day somebody loved one is dying, y'all. And it's us, and the pace is just going. Like, I know a part of life is death, but the way we die, I'm suspicious on everything. Like, nah, you gotta come and show me something different, because this is not working. So the same way we brought you in with this video, we're gonna take you out. But remember, live to love, love to live. I love you guys all, but definitely shout out to everybody on the panel list tonight. On the panel, all our panelists. Definitely want you guys to keep in contact with me. Y'all got my personal cell phone number. Please keep in contact with me. And if we're not friends on Facebook or social media platforms, please send me a friend, because I'm gonna keep sharing y'all stuff over and over again until we get the help to get those 4 brothers out. They need to be out now with their families immediately. So thank you. My check. Live to love. Live to love. Cell blocks for killer cops, not cell blocks for 4 innocent men that weren't doing anything wrong. Cell blocks for killer cops.
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 And Mr. West begging for his life. And Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Back up.
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salon vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the Officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam, and my sister Dina and her family. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.